And joining me right now is Tim Froude, President and CEO of Sokoman
Minerals Corp.
Minerals Corp. I'm leaving this one in.
Close enough.
No edits.
Sokoman. Everybody knows Sokoman, right?
Everybody knows Sokoman.
Yeah.
We're going to take a drive.
Okay.
Don't worry, you're in safe hands. My eyes are on the road, even though my thoughts are with you. So when did you get involved with this company?
Actually, I started initially with this company just after it was founded in 2007, way back.
Wow,
yeah, we've been around a little while. We've gone through a couple of evolutions, if you will, or manifestations.
Sure.
We started life as a company called Golden Dory Resources, focused on gold properties in Newfoundland, out in eastern Canada. And then we got into the iron ore business a few years after that, when it was cool to have an iron ore property.
Okay.
And we changed the name to Sokoman Iron Corporation. And more recently, just to streamline our profile and make it easier for people to understand what business we are in, we changed it to a more generic Sokoman Minerals Corp. So I've been around. I'm the longest serving member. I'm not a founder of the company, but I'm the last surviving of the original 6, I guess, if you want to go there.
Okay, and what percentage of the float the insiders own of this company?
Well, unfortunately, not a lot, because all of the people that had, founder shares and original shares have all left.
Right.
So, because our board is fairly new, in fact, most of our board members have only a year or two under their belt, and we're not giving away options and warrants, freely, just as a rule.
Yeah.
We like people to earn their keep.
Okay.
Our management position is less than 10%, I would say, in total.
Okay. And how many shares are outstanding now?
109 million, 145 or so fully diluted. I should mention, though, I think, because it is worth noting, that our largest shareholder is a fellow a lot of people may know, Mr. Eric Sprott.
Oh, good old Eric.
Yes.
He's a great anchor to have, isn't he?
Well, he's almost single-handedly supporting the junior sector in Canada, and I must say, my hat's off to him. Obviously, not just because he's into our space, but because he believes in in the market, and I hope to reward his patience and participation in his company at some point with a nice payoff.
Absolutely. How many shares does he own? Do you remember off the top? Because that would be held in tight hands, obviously.
Well, I'd say 15 million shares sort of would be close on, but he has warrants and things. He was actually into 2 placements, so the exact figure I wouldn't be able to give you an exact down to the last one, but 15 to 17 million shares approximately.
Yeah. Who brought Eric to you?
Actually, it was a call I received from a party that he's done business with in the past, Palisade Global. Actually made the initial call and asked if it was okay if they got Eric Sprott in on the call as well. So, and of course I said yes. And from that first conversation, we had a couple of follow-up calls, and this all happened after we announced the first hole, actually, we drilled on our flagship property at Moosehead, returned a stunning 11.9 meters of 45 grams. And of course, Mr. Sprott, along with a lot of other people, like high grades, so that intrigued his interest, it piqued his interest, I'm sure, and no small reason why he thought it might be worthwhile investing in SIC.
Well, as you mentioned, he's kind of holding down the junior resource sector, but he's going to do very well. I mean, he's buying up all these things at pretty low valuations, and as you know, things are I'm sure will turn at some point. And in fact, I would argue that they're already starting to turn. The fundamentals for gold look pretty good, and we've seen some movement in the price. Just definitely helping things out.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, several people have said, if you've survived and held on, then you're in half decent shape. And I'd like to think that with $2.3 million in the treasury right now, we've come out of this very bad time rather healthy and in a good position to move forward. And we actually are going to be restart drilling in about 2 weeks' time. So
with all that snow.
With all that snow, yes. Fortunately, I guess, for the property's sake, it's not on the Avalon Peninsula where it's paralyzed right now, but
Right.
they did get a little bit of snow, but sometimes it's easier to make roads where there aren't any, when there are roads, in terms of clearing them and keeping them clean. But no, it shouldn't affect our startup. Like I said, around the first week of February, we should be core in the box.
What's the plan for using these funds? And like, what would be exciting for people to potentially speculate on?
Well, everyone likes drill results, right? And especially when they're, high or, even spectacular grades like we've returned from Moosehead. So our mission this year is to just make, the prospect as big as we can possibly make it. Our treasury will allow us to drill, a minimum of 10 to 15,000 meters without having to go to the market. So,
Okay.
that puts us in a very strong position. It gives us time to, even get a better idea as to what's going on, because a lot of times these gold deposits, particularly vein type deposits, can be complex, and this one's no exception. So, we're going to be taking our time. We'll probably drill 2 or 3 rounds, not all in one shot, and just sit back and figure it out, put it all together, and
Yeah.
I'm sure our patience and our shareholders' patience will be rewarded for that.
What type of blue sky potential would you say this property has, in your description?
Well, we're on a fault system that currently hosts Atlantic Canada's largest gold deposit at Valentine Lake. Marathon Gold have that property. It's, I think, about 100 clicks or so to the southwest of us at 4.2 million ounces and counting. So, I mean, we know there's multi-million ounce, gold deposits on this structure. Our grades are much higher on average than what Valentine Lake are producing. So we don't need, a super huge deposit. Someone once said to me, we get in the gold business, you get paid by the ounce, not the ton, right? So that's where grade is so important. And it's quite possible there could be a 7-figure gold resource on Moosehead, but it's up to us to put that number on the board.
Yep, absolutely. Can you tell me a little bit more about the new board? Because you mentioned that it's relatively new within the last 2 years, I think.
Yes,
So
that's right.
Can
Well,
you highlight them a little bit?
Well, we're an exploration company, so we're very strong on the technical, on the geo side. There's myself. I'm a PGO as well, and 2 of our other directors, Colin Bowditch and Peter Dimmel. Both have extensive exploration experience on boards of multiple companies, and certainly a name not strange to a lot of people with ties to this business. And we have a very strong sort of corporate side as well. Our VP Corporate, Cassie Hume, runs her own investor relations firm in Toronto. We don't have an official office per se, which means we have a very low burn rate, which is very good news for shareholders. We're not wasting money in rent. Mm-hmm. And so we needed a very strong voice on the floor in Toronto, arguably the world's most important mining center. Yep. So Cassie's in Toronto, and as well, our newest addition to the board is actually a former J.P. Morgan banker from New York. He's based in New York, James Adams, adjunct professor at New York University as well. So he's very well versed in the finances, and certainly a very strong leg to stand on in the United States, where we actually have a formal listing as well. So and we will be doing more. More focused efforts towards attracting more U.S.-based investors, and also James is fluent in German, so I mean he'll be a very good asset should we decide to tap the European market at some point in the future as well. So a very well-rounded board, obviously a little heavily weighted towards science, but that's what we are. We're an exploration company.
Yep. Have you heard of the Save Canadian Mining campaign initiative?
I think I have. Yes, I know there's been a few initiatives ongoing, and I'm certainly there to save it if I can help.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing that they're doing. I've been asking everybody this question just to see. And what would you say is the biggest risk to shareholders, potential shareholders?
Not returning the drill results required to move the project forward. currently there are no environmental issues with our project at Moosehead. There are no land claims issue, and not that land claims are a bad thing. It's just that there are no, or there are very few actual reserves, First Nations reserves on the island of Newfoundland. There's just one, and it's not close to the property. So, the property is free and clear of the liabilities or potential not windfall or headwinds, but logistically as well, it's very strong, and it's an hour's drive from the assay lab. It's an hour's drive from the drilling company's home bases. So, like I said, our dollars go a long way at Moosehead, but it's all about the results. At the end of the day, if we don't deliver, strong and continuous results, we'll just move on, right? We won't. I don't like to get married to projects to the point where you're broke and you've got a project that's probably not going to make it.
It's gotta make sense.
So know when to cut the cord is important, and but I do believe 2020 will be a very good year for us and our efforts at Moosehead and ultimately our shareholders.
Well, on behalf of our community, the Follow the Money community, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview and touching base with us, and maybe we can get a follow-up around PDAC.
Sure thing.
Thank
Pleasure.
you, sir.